What's going on today, Internet? Selfish here with Retrospect. Today we're going to take a look at the Beitong KP40. This is a high-tech controller, or at least high-tech for me, but going into the future, this has a lot of features that are just starting to come to the market, and this is priced very competitively against other controllers with these similar features, and I'm really digging this thing. I want to share it with you. Let's take a look. Before we get going, this Beitong KP40 was sent to me from Beitong for a fair and honest review. They get no say in the review's content and won't see it before it's published, but at the same time that you do. All opinions are my own, like always, without fear or favor. So let's check this thing out. The KP40, I'm only saying KP because I don't know how to pronounce it. We are going to take a look and see what this is all about. I think this is the first controller I've received that had plastic wrap around the controller, just so I know that apparently it hasn't been opened before, which is pretty cool. I have actually recently reviewed one of their controllers before. I'll leave a link down in my thingamabob. I actually really did quite enjoy it. If you're not familiar with this company, they actually make controllers for other companies, typically not with their own name on them, so we get the pleasure of getting it right from the manufacturer. We're going to open her up. It looks like it slides through, maybe. It'd be really cool if this had magnets. Well, take a look at the outside here real quick. This is actually raised. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this in the video, but it's actually embossed on here and raised up, which is cool. Same with the controller here on the front. It does actually have a QR code for their website. Anything interesting on the sides? Nope. And on the other side there, just says play better with intelligent controller. So this is supposed to be a completely intelligent controller, so I'm excited about that as well. Not a whole lot that I can read on the back of here, but it is a TMR stick, which it is telling us, and we know that. We'll put the specs up here on the screen for you here in a minute, and here we go. Well, now it doesn't look so cool. Now it's just a plain white box, covered it all up, and we have a little card here on the top. Last time it was a booklet. This time we kind of have an origami accordion, except for it goes up and down. Very cool. Yeah, I could dig with that. I can make some cool tunes that way. There's a lot to learn about this, so I would imagine we're probably going to be referring back to that book at some point in time here. We do have a USB-A dongle. This is going to be our dongle for using it with all of our devices. And then we do have the controller. I'm guessing there's probably a USB underneath here, maybe. Maybe it doesn't even come with a cable. A lot of them don't anymore. But we're going to take a look anyways. Oh, there it is. A nice USB-A to USB-C cable. This can actually be used wired as well, so it looks like it's good and long. Much longer than a lot of them are. And this cable is branded, it looks like. I don't think I've seen one that wasn't braided that was branded before. We'll get this stuff out of the way here, and then we'll take a look at the controller. All right, here we go. We got the controller out of the box. We got the little things off from on the outside. Boy, that's a nice looking controller. Ooh, it feels good too. I thought this one felt good. No, this one's definitely a little bit heavier. This feels really nice. I'm guessing this is also plastic and not metal, but it looks really good finish. Very cool. It's almost got that futuristic look to it with some of the stuff. It looks like it could be a little spaceship. I'm guessing we do have some LEDs and stuff on here as well. And then it does have these, awesome. It's got these triggers on the back. Cool. Why don't we go through the device real quick? We'll go through the I/O here and we will check this thing out. Like we always do, we will start at the top. We do have our left and right bumpers and triggers. These are analog and digital triggers, and we'll show you that here in just a second. And we don't have a ton of travel on these bumpers, and they feel really good. Got a good click. It's pretty soft. It's not too bad. On the back here, we do have our M1 and M2 buttons. Also your switch to select whether you want to run Bluetooth off the dongle or through a Nintendo Switch. So that's actually a 4-way switch we have on here. And then we have these right here, which these here change this to a digital trigger. So if you're going from racing to a shooting game, or you can run one way and one the other way. So this here would be good for your first-person shooters. And I forgot to mention on the top here, we do have a USB-C hole, and that's going to be for playing with that USB-C cable or used for charging. There's nothing on the sides of this or the bottom. They could have put a 3.5 hole right there, and we would have had a good spot like the old Xbox controllers. On the top here, we do have our face buttons. Ooh, okay, so these are on a switch, but man, do they feel good. Let's take a look. Really quick rebound. They're not super loud. They are clicky, and I know you can hear it, but they're not really that loud. You're also very close to a microphone today. Cool. We do have our D-pad, but I think it will take me a little bit to get used to this D-pad. Kind of feels like an upside-down bottle cap, but I could be wrong. It's got a good pivot to it, so it may turn out to be great. I'm starting to get used to these dish-style D-pads, so this could be part of my gateway into starting to really like these. I played Sega as a kid, so I liked them then. I just didn't use them for so long, and I was playing so many first-person shooters that there wasn't a lot of benefit to it for a long time there until I started getting back into retro gaming. So I could see this being a benefit as long as it all works out well. We do also have our start and back buttons, and then we do have our turbo and home buttons. And there's those lights I figured that were going to be there. Oh, each color mode has its own color. That's really cool. Now, how do I turn it off? Now that we got the lights off, there are some things you need to know about this controller here as we get into this next feature. These joysticks here are TMR Joysticks. So this is the next evolution beyond Hall effect. There are some companies that are starting to use these TMR sticks, In fact, it looks like there might even be a handheld coming out with TMR sticks in shortly. These are the same type of joysticks I run in my Steam Deck, and I absolutely love them. Now, these ones are even nicer than the ones I have in my Steam Deck. I do believe that if you turn these rings here, you can actually change the tension of the sticks, which is something, yep, I'm going to use this controller a lot. That's something I need in my life because I tend to overcorrect myself when I'm playing video games. The TMR sticks I have in my Steam Deck aren't adjustable, but they do have a higher tension rate than normal TMR sticks. I had the option if I wanted ones that are looser or ones that had a little bit more tension. I went with the ones with more tension, and I really like them. This here is even a little bit more. Oh, yeah. As long as these sticks play well, I'm going to be in heaven here. Between that and these triggers. You know, everything here is also within good reach, it seems. I'll know a little bit more once I play with it, but nothing feels like I'm stretching, and I don't have very big hands. That helps you, I don't know, but nothing here feels like I'm stretching to get to it. It all feels really comfortable and natural. It does kind of wing out a little bit more even than this one, I think. They're pretty close, but I think it does actually, the angle might be out a little bit more. Either way, this one, you have a little bit more natural of a feel. This other one I had reviewed from them before works just fine. And then we do have this dongle here. We'll do this as part of the I/O. You do have a light on here that will turn on to let you know that you can connect with the device. And this one's actually labeled for this specific handheld. So it'd be harder to lose this one than most of them. Most of the time I have to print little labels to figure out which dongle is which dongle. So this one here, it matches right up. It is too bad there isn't somewhere to put this dongle when you're not using it, unfortunately. If I were to throw this controller in my bag for the day and maybe have my Lenovo Legion Go or my Steam Deck or something like that with me, I could be able to use this by setting one of those on the table. It would be just nice to have somewhere where I didn't have to worry about this. Granted, I can put it in a pocket in my bag, it's not a big deal, but if I didn't have that as an option, or if they're just separated because I'm not using one today because maybe I'm not gaming today, that would be nice. I do believe that they do make a stand for this as well, or they might be making a stand for it. I don't have a stand for it at this point, but I believe that's what these are for right here. So I believe that is something that you can get for this, where then this dongle would probably be in the stand, and I haven't looked at that yet. So after playing with this thing for about a week, there's a lot of things that we could say about it. So this turned out to be a really good controller. It tested out well. Its polling rate is 1,000. It's almost exactly the same whether it's wired or if you're running it through the dongle. It's running right around 1,000 polling rate. Its error rate's really low, very accurate. I really enjoyed this controller, and yes, I will recommend it. This is going to be one of those controllers I use to test other controllers against. My understanding is this is pretty much a straight competitor with the Vader 4 Pro. I've not tested that controller yet. That does have a couple advantages, like the fact that it has 4 triggers on the back here, so that's going to be a huge advantage for them on that, especially for the people that are really into gaming, or they use them on something like a Steam Deck, and so they're used to using those 4 buttons. You're going to be missing these here, so for your Steam Deck users, you are going to be short a couple of buttons if that's something you use. Now, I don't typically use them unless I'm doing testing. I did find though these are very easy to use. Your hands kind of are at a V shape. There is never a time when I felt like I was stretching to be able to touch the buttons. And then if you look on the back here, like everything fits perfectly. Everything is designed very well. Now, if this isn't advanced for you enough, they do make a KP40 as well. I have not tested that, but it looks like that's going to be more the pro style controller. Now, I know they'll call this like a pro controller, but like actual professional controller for more pro gamers versus more casual gamers. I can see a lot of benefit with the casual gamer with this. You do have an advantage with these sticks, especially if you're playing first-person shooters. In my opinion, tightening up the sticks makes a huge difference. Now, I have friends that'll tell you the opposite, and they'll tell you loosening the sticks actually is what helps because you swing faster. And you know what? This controller has both covered because you can either tighten or loosen it. So I think there's a lot of benefit to how this is set up. Now, these do have the metal rings underneath them, which is good, I hear on the post. The only problem that we have here is I do not believe that this is metal. I believe that this is not on aluminum. It could be, but I'm pretty sure that this is just painted plastic, and there is no friction ring on here. So even though you have the friction posts on here, you don't have a friction ring on the bottom here itself. So something that I kind of wish was there. I'm not seeing it here, which is unfortunate. I initially thought you wouldn't be able to change these D-pads, but I did figure out you can. I don't know why you'd want to though, now that I've used it. This is like a 8-point optical micro switch. It's phenomenal. It's very accurate. It's very pinpoint on the screen, very fast. I really like it. These are all optical switches. You know, they're not super loud, but they are very quick to put inputs in onto the screen. So I am very happy with that. I don't know why the dongle is so big. I'm just going to bring this up right now here in the middle. It would be nice if it was a little bit smaller. The other thing is, if this were in a stand with a dongle here on my desk, it would make a lot more sense to me to reach for this controller all the time. I don't know that I want to crawl behind my desk every time I want to plug this in. There's plenty of times throughout the week where I bring my Steam Deck or my Lenovo Legion Go and I just prop them up on a desk somewhere and use them with a controller. I wouldn't want to keep crawling behind my desk to get this dongle out, and there's nowhere to save it in here. I know I could throw it in my bag, but there's really just nowhere to keep it in here, and I don't want to keep beating a dead horse about it, but it's a big dongle, so maybe I won't lose it just because of how big it is. I have no idea. And then on top of the adjustable TMR sticks, I really do like the fact that you have these adjustable triggers back here. if you want to go analog or digital, essentially. I mean, I think they're both digital, but to get that analog actual usage and digital usage, I primarily play first-person shooters and racing games. So for me, this is perfect. You know, a first-person shooter, we got a short throw, racing game, long throw. I put a lot of pressure on these two when they were here. I couldn't get them to bust free. Some of these controllers, I've only tested a couple that have had these switches. One of the ones I tested, I put a lot of pressure on it and actually got them to bust down to be an analog again. And I couldn't get it to go on here. You can kind of see them shaking, but they are taking all the pressure that you can put on them. So I don't think that's going to be an issue that people are going to run into. So all in, I think that this is a really good controller. And like I said, I'm going to use this to test other controllers against now. This is awesome. I will use this. I just have to figure out exactly where I'm going to fit it in, whether this will just be my living room TV controller or my desk controller. Because once I plug this thing in, I'm not going to want to be crawling around looking for that dongle. But it will be a controller that does continue to get used in my household. So I do like that. There are just those few nitpicks that I have about this, including the fact that there's no anti-friction ring to go with the post. And these ones actually do touch, where their competitors actually don't even touch, but they still have those anti-friction rings in some of them, but they don't really need them because they don't touch. And the fact that it's missing those two extra buttons on the back, which is kind of a pain point as well. These get really stiff, and I wish they got stiffer, but you know what? Beggars can't be choosers, and I really like this. Oh, also, if you have these on loose all the way, they actually, over time, as you're playing with them, they shake themselves tighter and tighter, so they don't, and they get kind of rattly on the loose side, where when they're tighter, they are quieter. So just something to think about if you're going to get this. They're not loud anyways, but they are quieter on the tighter side. So yes, I would recommend this, absolutely. If you're a novice, this might be too much for you, but you really can't have too much because everything in gaming is you're always wanting more. So I think that you're going to be good either way. It's really cool. I might have to order myself up that stand that they have for it, and then I'll get some more use out of it. But that's all I got for you today. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe. Share this video with your friends because sharing is caring. It also helps grow the channel. It's actually the #1 way we grow, so do appreciate all you out there that do share these videos. Once you're done with all that paperwork, why don't you do yourself a favor and click on one of these videos that's here on the screen. Google picked it because they said you're going to like it, so I would just trust them and go with it. But that's all I got for today. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye!